Coming up, we're talking speculation and construction for Knott Scary Farm 2022. That's right, everyone, we are back. I am Will Collins, and I am going to take you guys on a journey through the Scary Farm lineup today, and we're going to talk what we think is going to happen this year. My thoughts here are going to be pretty in-depth, and I've been holding them in for an entire year, so I'm going to let them all out right here. If sitting around for this long isn't your thing, hey, that's great, but you maybe get up, listen to this as a podcast or something like that. I'm here to talk really in depth about some nice haunt goodness that's going to be coming this year and what I think, and if you're here for it, I'm here to talk about it, so that's what's up. I hear a lot of really in-depth speculation things for Horror Nights. We need some for Scary Farm, so if the audience is here for it, I'm here to talk about it because I got some things in my mind, and I bet you do too. So let me know in the comments below what you think about anything I talked about today. I definitely want to hear from you guys. This is coming off of me making a pretty well-received parody video of people who make Scary Farm construction updates and speculation videos, kind of parodying the whole community as a whole, which is funny because I do that myself. And why do I do it? It's yes, sometimes at times it can be a little silly, peeking through the holes to see all the construction and stuff like that. But we do it because we love it. We do it because we have this passion for the event, and I wait all year for it, and I can't help but discuss it and discuss. That's part of the fun of it, is seeing what you think is going to happen this year. And one of my mottos is that you should always be able to laugh at yourself. And so I did release that video a few weeks ago, and it got a pretty good response. Now for the real thing, we're actually going to talk what I actually think is going to happen for Haunt this year. I was just at Knott's recently for the 4th of July. Fantastic celebration as always. Summer nights, hitting it absolutely out of the park. Took a look at the new bathrooms at Memory Lane and the new restaurant, which has not been opened yet at the time of recording, but it looks like it's gonna be open soon. There was a menu up, it's all furnished, the walls are down, and they were definitely training people to work at the restaurant, so that is not very far off. It's really amazing how much effort they've put into Memory Lane this year. That whole section of the park was very passable in the past. There was almost nothing over there. Now you got a bunch of reason to be over there, so that's fantastic. So Scary Farm, last year, it was the return after COVID. We didn't have an event in 2020. There were obviously some setbacks. It seemed that auditions were a lot later than normal. You could definitely tell a little bit in certain areas of the event that there were things that were started a little later, that there are things that had to be delayed, that couldn't make it. For example, we only had one new maze instead of two, that being Mesmer. But for the most part, I think with the uncertainty of what was going on at the time, especially in 2020 and whatnot, I think they did a really good job with the event and continued to innovate in just the way that they're going to continue innovating for years to come. Now that brings us to 2022 for the 49th annual Halloween Haunt. This is what would have been the 50th Halloween Haunt if we had had Haunt in 2020. Now I think we can all agree 2021 was a little bit of a harder year, but COVID isn't really an excuse anymore, so the haunts need to be on their A game this year, just like COVID never happened. And I believe that is what Knott Scary Farm is going to be pushing this year, and I think we're going to see a great year, and it's really going to set up the 50th anniversary, which I can't even imagine what's gonna happen then. I don't even wanna think about that. I just wanna think about 2022 first. Now, as of recording, there have been some posts on social media by Knott's, mainly just about applying for different positions within Scary Farm. Normally by this time, we would just have at least one post, maybe hinting to when announcements are gonna be and whatnot. As of now, that is not the case. I'm recording this video on July 5th. I'm expecting that this coming Thursday there will be an announcement, at least just something saying maybe we'll announce things on this day or something like that. In 2019, Knott's had a Midsummer Scream panel at the end of July of that year, which kind of kicked off their announcement season, and they would announce various returning things on social media for the next few weeks until the end of August, where they had the pass holder event, the pass holder announcement event. I went to that. It was a fantastic event, really loved it, and it's pretty much how they had done it for years before. They would do Midsummer, They'd announce a few things on social media for the next few weeks, and then basically just leave the new mazes and a few new attractions to the announcement event at the end of August, which would typically be the last Thursday of August. I find Thursday is a very significant date within Scary Farm. It's when like the event opens, that's when like announcements happen. That's Thursdays are the day to be spooky, I guess. But then obviously we didn't have Haunt in 2020, so in 2021, there was no Midsummer Scream. There was a smaller event called Awaken the Spirits, I believe. Knott did not have a panel there. Instead, in the beginning of July, they were like, "Ooh, guys, announcements are coming soon." And then starting on like July 15th, every week they would have a new video that would announce something. They had just announcing the event and the dates first. The next week they had the returning scare zones. Then they announced Goring 20s. And then they did the shows, the returning mazes, and finally they announced Mesmer when the tickets went on sale in mid-August. So that's basically the timeline that we're looking at for what they've done the last 2 years. Now this year, again, as of recording, July 5th, there has been a schedule announced for the Midsummer Scream panels, but there is no Scary Farm panel listed on there. They did say that there are more panels yet to be announced. I really hope there's a Scary Farm panel. I love getting that hour of insight and maybe new announcements on what's gonna happen. It's always a great time. I actually won't be able to attend in person this year, but I still want it to happen either way. Now, so that just leads us to wonder, are we gonna have a Midsummer Scream panel? Is there gonna be an announcement event? If there's not an announcement event or the panel, we're probably just gonna have the videos as before. The videos are exciting, but I really like the announcement event, and even though we technically have to wait longer to know what the new mazes are typically with the announcement event, I still would rather have that than the videos. Only time will tell. I'm expecting the first post to be pretty soon. Definitely keep an eye out on Thursdays. That's the day to be. The announcement event is typically held in the Walter Knott Theater. And right now we have a show in there, it's DJ Lance Rock, who is the Nickelodeon guy. And if you look at the schedule on the Knott's app, he only performs Saturdays and Sundays, I'm pretty sure, through the first weekend of September. And if you look right here at the set for that show, since the announcement event is normally the last Thursday of August, I mean, it could happen, because there are shows scheduled for that weekend. So whether they'd be able to turn this set over in a matter of one day, I think they could do it. The question, normally the show in that theater closes well before the announcement event. So I don't know, it makes me a little nervous, but again, only time will tell. As for the dates, something really interesting happened this year. When we got the dates for all seasons of fun for this year, so Merry Farm, Boysenberry Festival, Summer Nights, we also got the dates for Scary Farm, which normally never happens. It's normally totally separate from everything else. And that is September 22nd through October 31st. And you can see all the dates on the website. It is 26 nights, as usual. But just how the calendar tends to fall, where those nights are placed are a little different. So this year, we're gonna have 6 weekends compared to 7, which we had last year, but still 26 nights. How do they do that? Normally the event goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a few weeks, and then they start to add in the Sundays. This event this year is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the entire season, and there's also gonna add a Wednesday, so that's how we're gonna get 26 days into only 6 weekends. Tickets probably gonna go on sale late July if they do the panel, mid-August if they don't. Now, something interesting that happened in 2021 was that passes for Scary Farm went up actually at the end of 2019, and they were only available for current Knott's Berry Farm season pass holders. Now, normally at Midsummer Scream, tickets would go on sale, and then everyone can now get a Scary Farm pass. Well, in like April or May of 2021, those passes sold out. Everyone was like, okay, it's fine, we'll just wait till the tickets go on sale. Tickets went on sale, everyone looked, oh, no passes. So even if you had a Berry Farm pass and you didn't get the pass already, no Scary Farm pass. That actually happened to me last year. We got our 2022 passes, but kind of same thing happened this year. They very, very quietly sold out of those passes in like on like April 10th or something like that, and they apparently sent out an email, which I never got and a bunch of people never got. I did already get my Scary Farm pass for this year, but a lot of people are once again left in the dust and don't have passes yet, so I don't know if they're gonna release them again. Only time will tell. Regarding the conductor, I think he's fine. The Green Witch was not a character for a while, so it does make sense. He's a good way to glue the zones together. Sarah Marshall does still have a good presence over the event, which is good. But I think I'm fine with her not being the main icon for now. Who knows what they're gonna do for the 50th, man? That's in the, but don't think about that right now. Oh, good lord. Now let's start with the scare zones. Ghost Town Streets. Yeah, I just honestly have a hard time thinking that one's gonna come back. Next topic. Ghost Town Streets is the staple of Knott's Scary Farm, but things gonna be there until I'm an old man and I can barely walk. All of our monsters are gonna return. We're gonna get it really foggy in there. I'm really excited. It's gonna be great. Then we got Carnival. Now, Carnival, yes, very special. So something that's been talked about many times, this comes up every year, is that Carnival needs something else. Carnival needs a little more chutzpah. I feel like, in a way, Ghost Town Streets is the quintessential scare zone, is the best scare zone ever. 100%, no doubt. None of the other scare zones compared to it within Knott's Berry Farm and anywhere else, I think. That's subjectively true. And so in a way, it almost makes the other scare zones, which are like really on par to most of the scare zones at other events, just seem a little lackluster in certain places. And I definitely feel that sometimes, but for example, Carnival. Well, this one's actually unique because obviously Carnival is something that's always talked about every year during speculation. This is brought up that there's just not enough going on there, or like maybe it needs to be darker, or you need to add in some like freak show acts or something more going on there, because I don't know, I feel like last year it was pretty good there. Personally, I don't find clowns very scary at all. Carnival is definitely in better shape than I think it was in like 2018. And it's more fun, and I don't think it's gonna be perfect. No scare zone except for Ghost Town Streets is ever really gonna be perfect. But I will say, a rumor that I have heard is, and if you don't know this, there's a new idea at Scary Farm that they've been pushing for the past few years, since 2017, that the entire park is the experience. Yes, there are a bunch of, this is not really a theme park with a bunch of haunted attractions in it. The entire park is the experience. And so you'll see we have 4 mazes, which are backstage, and they can theme those to whatever they want because they're really backstage. And then the other 5 are out in the main park area, and those ones are themed to the scare zones which they exist in. You got Pumpkin Eater in the Hollows, Origins in Calico, Dark Ride, Mesmer in Carnival. Now, a rumor that I have heard to further push this melding the zones and the mazes together is that in Carnival there is going to be a wardrobe update to further match Mesmer. I don't know exactly what this entails. I don't know how much it's going to be advertised, but that's what I've heard. And I think that'll be a really good idea. Get some of the more of those freak show characters inside Carnival, and have more of your traditional clowns and more of your freak show clowns, even if it's directly, in the mind, and maybe have some of the characters from the maze in the zone, or make new characters. I think it's a really good idea, and it's probably coming this year, so look out for that. Forsaken Lake and the Hollow are hard because, like, they're fine, honestly. Like, I'd much rather have them there than nothing at all. And I think for what they have, for the talent that they have, and Knott has some pretty good talent, but for the talent they have, the space that they have, realistically, I think those scare zones, they're good. They're fine. Nothing I say is to put down anyone who works in these events. I know that this takes a lot of work, and designing everything you see has to be designed by someone and created by someone. The talent, most of them work their asses off. And anything I say, any criticism, I'm not trying to do that in any negative way. It's just what I personally feel. But when I look at Forsaken Lake and the Hollow, I look at them, I stare them in the eyes, and I say, you're kind of a passing thought. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, that's fine. Honestly, we could sit here all day, really, and talk about how we could make them not passing thoughts. whether it's adding something in the lake, in Forsaken Lake, to make it more immersive, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that would really work out logistically. The Hollow is literally just it's just Camp Snoopy with 0 rides and just fog. Like, there's no one there. There's like never anyone there because there's no reason to go there, really. The maze in Camp Snoopy is at the front of the park. You don't need to go through Camp Snoopy. I mean, the only reason I'm really going to go to Forsaken Lake and the Hollow is to go in Forsaken Lake and the Hollow. You know what I mean? Just to kind of be there, but I don't normally end up spending that much time there. I just feel like I'm spending my time in other places, like Ghost Town. Like, literally, you can spend an entire day, do all the mazes, all the shows, and not step in either of those zones once. But I do appreciate the talent. I do appreciate, Forsaken Lake has gotten way better than when it started. I think they could definitely extend it a little more, maybe to like in front of Silver Bullet. Yeah, I mean, hey, standing in line, having fog, and maybe some monsters messing with you, I mean, that could totally work. But the way that they expanded it in 2019 definitely helped. I think Forsaken Lake is where it should be. You know, there's always things you can do to think outside the box and do certain things like that, but if I talked about all that, we'd be here literally all day. The Hollow, you would need something else. You need something else in the middle to make it work more. Also, I did notice how last year there was a lack of the street or atmosphere characters, as they previously called them, or just those moments. Like, I'm pretty sure they did something in like at least like 2018 where the Hollow felt kind of like Ghost Town Alive. Like they had the burning moment, the Wicker Man moment at 12 a.m. and they would have like various other scenes that would play out. The only one that happened last year was the Wicker Man, but it didn't even have actors. That was kind of substituted in the show they did there. And so there wasn't much there, so I was like, okay. And you got the funeral procession. I definitely want to see more of those moments because the Forsaken Lake procession is great. The Wicker moment in the Hollow kind of got worse because they don't have any actors. And those are really the only ones I can think of that happen outside of Goring 20s. So I definitely want to see more of those this year. A new 1 or 2 would just be great because it just helps to enhance everything. It doesn't need to be this big spectacular thing. If it's just a moment between characters, I would love to see that, especially in the Hollows and whatnot. Now finally, the brand new scare zone from last year, Goring 20s, now with a even more renovated memory lane this year. Last year, this scare zone was fantastic. I had 0 problems with it. I know some people who were saying it needs to be scarier, or I wish they had the speakeasy and this and that. I literally no problems with it. I think it was a fantastic zone. I think it's only going to be further enhanced with this new restaurant. I think it's just going to be a little nicer there. And I had no problems with it. I think the energy was fantastic. Every character had a reason to be there. You had your sliders. You had a decent amount of scares. I liked it. It was off-putting. It wasn't too creepy. It's hard for me because I don't get creeped out by many things often, just me personally, so it's hard to gauge what's actually scary and what's not. This scare zone is not meant to be the scariest. I don't think that's the point. I think what was brought to the table last year was fantastic, and I can't wait. I want to see another great, energetic cast this year. Maybe more moments between characters, a little more story could definitely help. I wonder if the story will shift throughout the years. That's something that could definitely work. The band is definitely returning. Really great stuff. There was a casting call that I saw on the Knott's Jobs website just a few weeks ago for dancers for the Goring 20 scare zone on the balcony where the band was, which also was freaking awesome. So that's definitely returning, 100%, definitely confirmed it's returning. A lot of these we can assume are returning. Almost everything we know what the lineup is going to be, except for the things that are totally new for the most part. But we definitely have confirmation from that job call that it's definitely coming back. As for what could be new for scare zones, I want to see more things in Streetmosphere throughout. Carnival, I want to see what they do with that update. Little Freak Show X couldn't hurt, but it's fine. We'll see what happens there. Goring 20s I think is fantastic and can't wait to see how the story progresses there. Could there be a new scare zone? Look, honestly, anything could happen. I mean, I don't know. They could just totally scrap the Hollows next year. That's totally something that could happen, but that's a discussion for a different time. Look, they could totally just put a scare zone in Fiesta Village. They could do anything, really. I think the scare zones are fine how they are. Just with those additions that I talked about, I think we get a pretty solid scare zone lineup this year. Now let's talk the shows. So first up, we have Puppet Up Uncensored. Yes, Puppet Up. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't come back. This will be its third year in the fog. It's a great show. The show that they do for Puppet Up at Scary Farm is very much so a shorter rendition of the full 2-hour show that they have. I would definitely like to see more things from the rest of the 2-hour show. It feels very... Obviously, every show is going to be different because it's improv. But I would still like to see more variety in... Because, like, it feels like last time I went, this last year, every time I saw the news segment, every time I saw Windy, every time I saw this and that and this and that. Those are great, but I would just like more variety. I would definitely like to see a lot more new ideas for things like that. Obviously, again, I'll be happy if it comes back. I'd just like to see a better variety there. Sometimes the sketches could be a little hit or miss, but a lot of times they hit pretty well, and I like it. I would also like to see a return of the really funny bit they had the first year, where it was they'd like bring like a couple on stage, and they'd like ding a bell to like what their first date was like, or they would have someone come up and like hold a puppet for the first time, and that was like one of the funniest moments of the whole show. They took it out last year, I assume because of COVID, but like I said, that really shouldn't be an excuse this year, so hopefully that comes back. Next up, we got Carnaval du Grotesque. Just bring back the hanging, please. They're trying to do like a Summer Nights kind of vibe. It was even pretty much the same stage as Summer Nights. They had like a ringmaster who would like lead the whole thing. It would be throughout the night, and you'd have like bands, you'd have freak show acts, so there was that there, but it was very passable. You know, the only thing I really saw was a guy like swallow a sword and step on glass. It's the only thing I really cared to watch. It just didn't, it's fine. I guess it's better than nothing. I just want the hanging back. 100% we do know that this is coming back. There was a casting call for ringmaster and various other positions within this little show. Originally when they announced it, I thought it was gonna be like a scheduled show with like circus acts and whatnot, kind of similar to maybe Circus of Wonders they had at in the park over the summer for a few years. But no, it's just like a throughout the night entertainment thing, and I think that's fine. It's fine. I just love the satire and recap of the year. I just want that back, but we're not gonna get that back anytime soon, probably, so what are you gonna do? Also, side note, bring back the stunt show, please, Knotts. That's been gone for a while. Also, something interesting I noticed, which is probably related to this, is that there were no gunshots in Ghost Town Alive this year. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. And if you've been in Ghost Town and have seen stuff for like years, you know that before COVID, they would have guns with blanks and whatnot during the hanging, during the stunt show, and during like Ghost Town Alive and various things they would do. The cowboys would have little guns and they'd shoot little, just loud noise. It was fun. I really liked that. I just thought it was really fun. I don't know why it's not here anymore. Could that be why they're not doing the stunt show anymore? Did the stunt show cost too much money? I don't know. Is it because people are sensitive to guns now? I mean, people were sensitive to guns in 2018, honestly, more than ever, so I don't know what the problem is there. I hope they'll come back, but that was a pivotal part of the stunt show, and I couldn't see it coming back without guns, so I don't know. Oh, hey! Didn't see you there. My name's Will Collins, and I own this here YouTube channel. You should hit the like button and subscribe to let me know that you like this kind of content. It takes a lot of time to make this kind of content, and I'd really appreciate it. While you're at it, you might as well hit the bell icon so you can be notified for future videos. And if you like this video, then you are going to love Legally Blonde at the Palos Verdes Performing Arts Conservatory. I just released a promo on my channel for it. This show is going to be so good. It's weekends July 15th through the 24th. So starting this weekend, the show's gonna start. So right when you're done watching this video, go to palosverdesperformingarts.com, check out the show. It's going to be amazing, and of course, yours truly is in it. It has amazing music, a heartwarming story, and we do it like nobody else does. Now, back to the video. Then we got our offerings in Camp Snoopy and Fiesta Village. Camp Snoopy, you had Wicked Drums. If I'm being totally honest, I thought the show was not very good. I was expecting like Blood Drums, which is a show that they had years ago, and it was very high energy. They would have like these like saw things. They would like have like sparks flying everywhere, really high energy show. That is not what it was at all. This was like 10 minutes. It was kind of off of the story of The Hollow, and I guess it was kind of the supplement for The Wicker Man because there were witches in the show and not in the actual burning. It was there, just not anything really interesting. If they bring it back, fine. If they put something better, great. There was a dance show on the Fiesta Village stage. I believe it was called Doce de la Noche. It's like 10 to 15 minutes of some really high energy, good dancers. I never actually saw it in person. I did see a video of it. It looked good. Fiesta Village, pretty passable during Scary Farm. Nothing much else to say there. If it comes back, great, I can probably see it. If it doesn't, I don't know. And you had Conjurers, the magic show in the birdcage. I didn't see it at all this last year. It actually wasn't announced on the show's video, which was kind of interesting. Like when they had a video announcing all the shows for 2021, it wasn't on there, but it was at the event. It's fun, I like it. Would I rather do Puppet Up or the Mystery Lodge show or... I was gonna say The Hanging. Yes, but like, okay. I think Knott has done a good job though with expanding their entertainment offerings, and I hope they further that even more this year. They've done a good job at bringing back a wide variety of shows. And then finally, the Mystery Lodge show, Invitation to Terror. I loved this show. I loved it. I loved it. I literally loved it. The fact that we don't have Mystery Lodge at all was so great to be back in there last year. The connection, which I will further discuss a little later, that it probably has with Calico and whatnot, was also really intriguing. I just loved the show. I think it would be great if they could bring something back there this year, but I'm gonna have to stop myself because let's talk about that when we get to the new mazes. All right, now we have come to returning mazes for 2022. Now, we don't have to do as much of a guessing game as we used to do anymore as what mazes exactly are coming back. It's pretty much confirmed now that they literally announce what mazes are leaving each year. So for a few years, we had 9 mazes. 4 backstage that could be themed to pretty much anything, and then to further immerse guests in the park, there are 5 mazes throughout, and those are themed to the scare zones which they exist in. Some people, even Daniel Miller, a designer who's worked there for years, did think that at first that would be a very limiting idea, but he realized that that's actually a pretty good idea, and that it's not limiting to the creative process. It can be maybe a little more challenging, but it can make for a better overall experience, and I really like the way the park is going. Now, concerning mazes, I would also like to bring up the fact that I believe John Cook is gone from the event, totally. I think he's totally gone. He was a big name in the event, a designer from 2014 through 2017, not very long actually. He brought some amazing mazes then, like Paranormal Inc., Shadowlands, Infected, really great stuff. And then in 2018, it was announced that he's leaving Knott as a full year-round designer, and he's now a contractor with Knott. And so he wouldn't really be like a lead designer because he started branching off into other things like 13th Floor Entertainment and whatnot. And he designed the depths and origins after that, 2018, 2019, and I'm pretty sure he is moving now, like even out of California. So he's definitely gone from the event. But what John Cook did do is he did take the event in a very, what I believe was a really crucial potential transition period at the time for the event in their design process and what they were doing. And he really turned the event around and put it in a very good direction that I believe the Scary Farm, him and Ken Parks, which are both gone from the park now, put Knott on a very good path. They helped Knott get on a very good path that I believe is going to carry them to make Knott a better event in the years to come. I really hope Knott has really learned from them some really good things, and I believe they have. And I believe they're going to carry that on this year and for as many years as possible. Ken Parks, by the way, former vice president of entertainment at Knott's Berry Farm. Now he works higher up in Cedar Fair. So returning mazes, let's just talk construction, what's going on right now, and what we think is gonna happen. First up, we're gonna go to Pumpkin Eater. Pumpkin Eater has pretty much been up all year, as you can see. There is a little extension that they do to the front of the park that probably isn't gonna happen until like a week, 2 weeks before the event. Pumpkin Eater, it's actually pretty amazing when you look at it, how much maze fits in that little of a space. It's pretty cool. But I will say this, I do believe that Pumpkin Eater, this is its last year. So get your Pumpkin Eater in, they're gonna probably announce it. I do like the room that they added last year, and they kind of fixed up that last kind of quarter of the maze. They added this like rat room, which replaced the cornfield. I definitely was like, yeah, they gotta replace that section. It is pretty crazy though. We only have one new maze since 2019. If COVID had not happened, we would have had four new mazes since 2019 by now, not including this next year. But you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. What are you gonna do? Pumpkin Eater is definitely interesting in the sense that when you go through almost every other maze, you feel like there are isolated rooms. You remember each room for being a room and whatnot. Pumpkin Eater just more feels like one blob of a single path. And I definitely hear a lot of people talking about that, and I definitely feel that. I guess it's okay to have some variety in that sense, but it's definitely gotta go. I actually liked it better last year than I did in previous years. This is its last year, it's on its last leg. Dark Ride, I believe that this maze has 2 more years left in its lifespan. I believe it's gonna be around for this year and 23. It's a great maze, it's a great maze. Honestly, this maze, I've had some really good walkthroughs and some really bad walkthroughs on this maze. I've had like 0 scares in one, and then one like 5 scares. I don't know what they could change. I mean, a room or 2, maybe if they have something better. Get the gift shop and the surveillance room are, I don't know, they're fine. I honestly, just like Pumpkin Eater, I don't think that's where they're gonna put their money this year as to renovating older mazes. Dark Ride is typically the last maze to go up. I believe about this time this year, they were getting started on construction even, but that has not happened yet. It's open for additional seating inside, so you're totally able to go inside of it, at least for 4th of July weekend. I was just there, and maybe it's closed now, but it's totally open. You're able to go through and walk around. It's really crazy how they turn that space into a maze. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's nothing there as of yet. No sign of construction yet. Next up, let's talk about Origins, the Curse of Calico. Yeah, this maze, it was back for its only 2nd year last year. This will be its 3rd year. It's good. It's good. I love the aspects of how it connects to the scare zone. Something interesting in Origins is I feel like there's a lack of scare spots. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't worked in there, so it's hard for me to tell. I just think there could be more. Maybe a picture frame somewhere, like where they can hide. Maybe near the Catawampus section with some like crack in the wall somewhere they can just jump out from. I just don't remember many of those from there. I feel like most of the monsters in Origins, I normally see them before they can get to me. While I think as far as like rooms and whatnot, they're probably not gonna do much to update those 3 mazes this year. They could really use new scare spots, new things to bang on for the actors and whatnot, better hiding spaces that they could just make, new jump scares that weren't there before. You know, Horror Nights has a lot of jump scares. I think Knott needs to do more of them, so I'd definitely like to see more jump scares in Origins, Dark Ride, and in Pumpkin Eater. Also, the Wilderness Dance Hall was just open for a private event a few weeks ago. The walls are blacked out now, so they're probably prepping for construction in there. Again, normally the second to last one to get started, you know, next to Dark Ride. In the back, I did get this little video. In the back, there is like, I don't even know what is going on there, but nothing really, no real big, you know, wood that they're getting ready to construct yet. It doesn't look like they're really doing anything yet, but they're getting ready, it seems like. Also, there's like a projector that I don't feel like was there the rest of the year. That definitely is for the projection on the top of the facade. Of the maze logo. I just didn't notice that before. I did notice it a few weeks ago though. Also, they had like this like beer station. They moved it over to near that like little outhouse next to town hall and the schoolhouse, which used to be next to the wilderness patio, but now is no longer there in preparation for Scary Farm, and because they just don't need it there anymore when they could just have it in a better location. So something that did happen is I took that video right there, and then like a few minutes later I brought my dad back. I was just like, hey, that's just normally where we'd look. And then we looked for like 1 second, and there were these team members a little ways away who, it was like 6 of them, they were all chatting in a circle, and one of them goes, hey, you can't go back there. And we were like, yeah, we know, we were just looking. Technically they were doing their job, because if someone were to go back there, that wouldn't be good. But the way that these guys were looking at us as we said, no, we're good, we were just looking, and we were walking away. We didn't give them any attitude, but as we were walking away, they were all looking at us, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, I bet I'd love to work with these people. What part of just standing back there makes you think we're gonna go backstage? And I wouldn't really even mention this if it weren't for, I did get a little ticked off at how they were just staring at us, just staring us down as we were walking away after we were like, yep, no, it's not fine, we're just gonna go. But it's fine, because I'm going to keep looking in those spots just like hundreds of other people do. It's totally allowed by the park. Again, I don't want to seem like an entitled person at all. This is not really that much of a big deal. Most guest service interactions I have at Knott's are very positive. It's just like, what part of standing there made you think I was gonna go backstage? It just kind of irked me a little bit, but I digress. Mesmer, Sideshow of the Mind. This will be its 2nd year. Mesmer was a really good maze. I really like it. I like it. I probably also like to see a little more spots for scares and jump scares. I know when I say spots for scares, that kinda isn't really how it works, because like normally a wall isn't just moved just to like in a maze's 3rd year just to add in a jump scare. I understand that, but I think they can figure it out. That's just what I'd like to see. So yeah, Mesmer's pretty cool. Man, 3 animatronics, that's crazy. That's crazy. Or puppets, or whatever you want to call them. But I do love Mesmer. Maybe something could be worked out with the pre-show. The first time I went through the maze, there was like, everyone was crowded into the room and we all had to watch the show. And that was good, it was fine. And then another time, they were just letting people through, just go through. I was able to stay and watch the whole thing because I wanted to. And then another time, they were just letting people through. I tried to stay, and they were like, get out, go in the maze. I'm like, okay, geez. Very elaborate. I also think eventually in Mesmer, it could be pretty easy to add a new character, a new room. As of this year, I don't really think that's gonna happen, but we could discuss it later as to what room I think might be replaced. But that's definitely something that will happen in the future. Interestingly enough, unlike Shadowlands and like other mazes they've had in that location in the past, it's pretty much stayed up, totally. It's stayed up totally. Outside the warehouse and inside the warehouse, it has stayed up the whole year. I did notice this little tarp on like the first part of the maze. They did just move a little bit. But yeah, it's staying there. They used to just totally take down Shadowlands in the front and the back of the like what extended out of the warehouse, but it's been up, so that's pretty cool. That tent though in the front, I will say, whenever I look at it, it's like it looks really weathered. I don't know if that's how they just made it. I kind of forget, but it looks really beat up. But it's fine. It's probably how they made it. Now we get to Waxworks on its 3rd year. Feel old yet? I know. Again, maybe a new place for a jump scare in Waxworks. It's good. I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's a backstage maze, so it pretty much just stays up the entire year. I don't know if the facade's up or not. The side of the building has that little exit that little last hallway, which by the way does send the maze like a good mile. Trick or Treat always felt really short, and I think this maze definitely utilizes the space a little better inside the building. And then Trick or Treat, literally once you exited the warehouse, except for the last 2 years, but even then it didn't really feel like, it just felt like an exit hallway. The last hallway in Waxworks does not feel like an exit hallway. It feels like it's still part of the maze, and honestly, it's normally the scariest part of the maze. I actually really love that hallway. 2019 was a lot scarier though. That's scary, I'll tell you that. That hallway, it's a little freaky. I was going with one of my friends one time and he like went ahead of me a little bit and like stood in an area where there was like just like I couldn't see him, and I just was walking, I see him just like, and I could see a little light in him. I was like, oh my God, he scared me. I would also like to interject here. While in speculation, I may say things about mazes and scare zones, and then I'm kind of just like, well, I don't think they could do this or this and that and blah, blah, blah. I believe that Knott's Scary Farm is the best Halloween event. And when I criticize it, I'm just criticizing a little bit. I love all the detail and the effort that goes into all the mazes, all the shows, all the scare zones. Every single aspect of it has to be worked on by someone, and people work their asses off on these things, on these projects. And I have nothing but respect and love for the projects themselves and the people who work on them. I should do a review of Scary Farm this year in general. Look out for that, because I do feel like sometimes on speculation, I do talk in a more negative way about some things. Like, you know, I wish they put a new room in here, but you know, they can't because of whatever. Really, it's like, I love every maze, and it's a privilege that I get to go through them, honestly. I would not be sitting here sweating my ass off in my garage for an hour and 10 minutes recording as of now if I did not love this event and just want to express everything that's been built up in my head for the past year about it, past 9 months. I would not be doing it otherwise. We could talk all day about how much I love the event, but I got my speculation brain on right now, and that's just how the cogs turn and how things come out and when I say them and whatnot. So I'm just letting you guys know. Now we get to the depths. The depths, yes. I liked this maze in 2021 more than I did in 2019. The freight elevator scene, wow, that just went really well. They're like, guys, 2019, we're in a brand new room. Freight elevator show scene, oh my God. I waited like 20 minutes, like, and it didn't look like it should have been 20 minutes because they were letting in what, like 30 people in every 3 minutes. That was ridiculous. That lasted for like 1 weekend at most, and it's gone. It's probably still there. The room's probably still there. It's just not, you can't go in it. It's just sitting, abandoned, forsaken. But yeah, I just loved this maze last year. Honestly, at times could have used a little more fog in the swamp room. I just noticed that. Now, I think this maze is due for updates. I believe honestly, the entire section from after the laser swamp until the big octopus room, I think all that is prime real estate for new rooms. As you can see, the depths has been there pretty much the entire year. They did just put our little animatronic friend out there. Every time I go there, I do see the lights on in there and whatnot. So I definitely think they're definitely working on some new rooms in there. Again, that spot I think is a great place for new stuff. I think otherwise, I think it's gonna be a great maze this year, especially if they add new stuff there. I think it's gonna be great. And finally, for returning mazes, that brings us to Dark Entities. Yes, Dark Entities. The maze that in 2018, I hated, honestly. I did not like it. I'm totally honest, didn't like it, just straight up. Every time I looked at it, I was like, hey. I mean, I did it almost every time I went because it had no line. It still has no line. I mean, I ain't complaining for that, but like, you know. And then in 2019, they made it a little darker. They added some scares. They put in a little more talent. They were a little more creative with the talent. And it got better. It was better. They added effects. It was better. And in 2021, I think it was even better than 2019. And I came out in 2021, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I wait 45 minutes for it, but I actually kind of like it. I kind of like it. I also say that because earlier I was going to say, you know, I don't really remember in 2021, like every year I'd have at least like a few scares where it's like this 100%, I was totally, a monster totally got me in this maze, in the scare zone. I have a few of those. And I was like, I don't remember one for 2021. Actually, I do. The only one that I remember from 2021, this is probably the only one that really happened, that really got me, was this scare right here. It was a jump scare. It was a startle scare. I was at the front. That got me so good. It was really loud, really startling, and that scared the crap out of me. I live for that. I wish that happened every single time I went in a maze. Imagine. I'd be so, that would be amazing. That'd be amazing. Also, another fun thing that happened in 2021, at least twice I went with, and like in this one quarter, people just went out the maze on accident. Like, no, other way. I heard some rumor from a forum that, or no, from somewhere that it's gonna be reversed this year, just like they did with Voodoo years ago. I have no reason to think that's gonna happen. I just mentioning it because I heard it probably means I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't really see why they need to do that, but whatever. Dark Entities is also a maze that I think could use some new rooms, because with all the improvements that they have made to it, oh yeah, they also made it a lot gorier in a few rooms. With all the improvements they have made to it, they haven't actually added any new rooms, and I think they could definitely add something significant. I don't know where, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a lot more you could do with new rooms in the depths than you can in Dark Entities. These are just the two contenders I think will definitely have new rooms. I hope, at least. And Dark Entities also has the most startle scares, and I think throughout the board we could use more of those, and just more ways to scare people, I guess, with just roaming monsters. I also think this is going to be Dark Entities last year. So this is the last year they can do something with Dark Entities. This will make it 4 years for Dark Entities, 5 years for Pumpkin Eater. I think this year they can seal off the deal after that, and we'll see new mazes there next year. The two other contenders would be the Depths and Dark Ride, because they're just around that area of like when they came out and whatnot. But I think those two can still squeeze another year, an additional year of life out of them. So yeah, that's right, folks. You heard it here first. Dark Entities, Pumpkin Eater, they gone after this year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the new mazes. Oh! First up, we have Paranormal Inc.'s replacement in the warehouse called GhostRider 3. This maze started construction, I don't know, I think we saw signs of it in like April or March. I think we saw signs of construction. We definitely didn't see much until, because they were definitely working on it inside for a while. And then they started to build outwards in front of the building, and then they built up, and then they painted. And we have these pictures here, which I'm pretty sure most people have seen by now. A lot of people say, yes, this is going to be a big maze. I mean, this is, yeah, that's what it is. It's definitely, the warehouse is the same size as all the others backstage, but it's just taller for some reason. So they can do more larger, like taller rooms in there than they can in many other locations in the park. They could do more. That's why they had all those aerial stunts in Paranormal Inc. And you think about all the footage. You know, Paranormal Inc. was in a way kind of a claustrophobic maze in this huge space, right? I mean, you think about like Dominion, which is a maze they had there before. Very tall walls, very large and grand were the rooms. Paranormal Inc. were smaller in this big space, except for, with the exception of like the first room. Most of them were smaller, and that was to get that, you know, there were literally two paths on there. Paranormal Inc. was a split path, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this maze. It seems like the rooms are, you know, gonna be kind of big in size. As we can see here, now here's an interesting thing. I got this from the top of the hotel, which is so much fun to go. Just getting out of the park, going to the hotel, just on the balcony. It's so fun to look at construction from there. As we can see here, the entrance is not painted at all. There's no facade yet. Nothing on the outside is done. It's just wood. It's this large half circle entrance. Very grand feeling. And then it goes into a room which is not painted yet. From an earlier construction photo, we see there's like some like oval, like half circle thing somewhere. It's covered now, but whatever. And that goes into this room, which is painted like a rusty brown, and it has like hands on it, like bloody hands, which immediately goes into another room, which is painted to have blue skies with clouds, and it has like forest trees within like a forest. And there is like an actual, like what looks like half, like the bottom half of an actual tree just there. And then from there, it seems like it goes into the warehouse, but there is like the other half of that structure, and then you have another like hallway that's like painted brown on the top. It's hard for me to make out the actual layout beyond those first like 3 rooms, beyond the woods room, because it seems like it would go into the warehouse from there, but like there's plenty more room there, so I don't know, beats me. If we're really trying to think about possible themes, well, first of all, also you notice that the mural, the Paranormal Link mural, is painted black. But for some reason, not the entire thing, just like almost all of it. I don't know, man. That's a choice, I guess. Basically, as far as themes and what could happen here, anything. Literally, this could be anything because it's backstage. So there's no limit. It does not need to be themed to a zone. It's not gonna be themed to a zone. Off the top of my head, we can definitely maybe just straight up something in the woods. Maybe werewolves, maybe vampires. In what world? Like if I'm thinking, I know I'm analyzing this so much, but like if I'm thinking being outside, I don't know why I'd go from a very tall brown room immediately to outside. I don't know. There's probably gonna be plenty of like props and sets that are gonna be added that will make for that transition between rooms better. But I don't know, man. I'm just excited. This is what we can see here. Obviously, we're gonna have 2 new mazes this year. The first, obviously, being here. The second one, we'll talk about in a moment. I assume they'd be like lead designers would be like Daniel Miller and Gus Kruger. Maybe they'll give John Aspirin a shot at his own maze. Who knows? But John Cook, again, like I said, is gone. So those are the only 2, those are the 2 I would think of. Now, I want to talk real quick, just for fun. I do this every year, about a few ideas I have for mazes that would just blow everyone's socks out of the water. And I'm gonna give those to you right now. Now look, no one steal these from me. Knott. Hey, if I work there in the future, these might come to fruition, man, or some variation of them. They're pretty good ideas that I've had, I'm not gonna lie. Knott, if you wanna hire me, I mean, I got plenty of creative theatrical experience. I got the time. Give me a scenic designer. We can make the best maze you've ever seen in your life. This hotel's been around for years. Maybe like at the least the late 1800s. So it's seen a lot of, decades come and go, a lot of eras, a lot of things, right? But the hotel itself, it's been around for so long. It's seen so many things, but the hotel is alive. The hotel will take you through different periods of time in its past. It is alive in that sense, in that it is transporting you through these different periods of time. The hotel is doing that. All the while, you are being chased by a maniac serial killer who will chase you through these different dimensions, or something like that. But I just think the concept of a hotel that is alive, that pushes you through different dimensions, and it would be fast-paced in the sense that you have all these different, there would even be a sense of deja vu. You go in one room from one era, you come back a few scenes later, and it's in a totally different era, but it's the same room. You can tell it's the same room, but it looks like almost totally different. And there will be some chain of whatever is the scare factor in the maze. Maybe it's a serial killer, maybe it's something is like chasing you throughout these like time warps basically that the hotel is taking you on. And so it isn't the hotel that's a threat from you, it's something that is chasing you throughout these time warps, these little holes in time. Second idea is called promixlia. I have a name for it. I don't know why it's called that. That's just the name that I think it would have. Now, this idea is called promixlia. I don't know why it's called that. That's just what I feel like it would be. And you're going through the footsteps of someone, and I've kind of thought about a few things. Either it's a man who has a mental illness, which I feel like wouldn't probably be work the best with, you know, general audience, general public, or a man who has major substance abuse, or, okay, those two probably not gonna happen, but or he's possessed, or he just takes a lot of hallucinogenic drugs. I think the hallucinogenic drugs is probably the way to go, because they're normally not very harmful, but the ones that he's taking are pretty harmful. And basically, when people have hallucinogenic drug trips, basically when people have these trips, you know, they're normally good things for these people, and it's a positive experience for them. In a nutshell, you're essentially walking through the footsteps of a man who's having a lifelong, really bad drug trip. So he's taking like hallucinogenics, but these things are messing him up. It's messing with his mind in an insane way. So he goes and commits crimes, and he leads a pretty scary life, honestly. But the scary part about the maze is how he's addicted to these hallucinogenic drugs. It makes him feel these urges to kill and to rob and to do all these things. You're going through his life, and everything he sees is warped and scary, and he feels like he needs to defend himself against all these things that he sees. And so all the people are like really messed up and like distorted, and like a person may be just like a weird amalgamation of something that's, I don't know, something that you'd imagine if you're on a drug trip and it's really scary. You'd be in like a jail cell and things would be like glitching and stuff like that. And I think it could be a really interesting idea. It would need some molding, some working out, but I think it could work. Also, I would just like to say, in new mazes, in case you couldn't tell, I really want to see stuff that really scares me. I want to go into a maze that I am scared in, honestly. I want to go in and come out and be like, that was scary, that scared the crowd, not just startled. I will tell you, the only time I have been genuinely scared in a Scary Farm attraction was Trick or Treat Lights Out. Pretty much every time I went in it, I was scared, and I want to feel that again. I want one of these new mazes this year to scare me. I want to go in there and be like, wow, this is actually frightening. Also, a like old cathedral, really old churches are so beautiful. Like, I'm talking like 10th century, 11th century, 12th century, old cathedrals and churches in Europe. Those are beautiful, and like ghosts in them, and that would be scary. And like you go into like the back rooms of these churches, and it's all these that could be a good idea. And then finally, something I would love to see, and something I believe could really be done in this Mystery Lodge maze, is a maze in which the story changes every year. It's set in the same place, but the story changes. And this is something that I heard Daniel Miller talk about, that he's like, yeah, I've always kind of wanted to do this. Kind of like, you know how they'll take Gunslinger's Grave? They made a Blood Moon Rises after a Blood Moon Rises after a few years. They changed the story. They put in a bunch of werewolves and all that. To be fair, that was just to like revitalize the maze. I want the point of a maze to be that every year the story changes. And this could be accompanied by every year a quarter of the maze layout changes. So every year a quarter, and this maze will be around for 5 years. So along with the entire story changing, 1 year the second quarter of the maze will change. And by the end of its 5-year lifespan, you'll have a totally different maze. Isn't that really cool? That's a really cool idea. So that could either be done with just, you know, a typical maze where a few rooms get changed out, you know, throughout its lifespan, where, but, you know, it has that change in themes every year. Or it could be even more, where literally, like I said, it has 5-year lifespan. Every year, a quarter of the maze is just totally new. That would be, and along with the story changing, I think that would be great. And I think if any maze is gonna do that, it's gonna be the Mystery Lodge maze. Like, think about it. That's literally where this could go. The story that they're developing could really go there. Definitely something that I think could be a big possibility for this new maze. Now, next up, we have our Mystery Lodge maze. Finally, we get 2 fantastic maze locations this year. This is the second new maze. It started construction later than the first one. When GhostRider 3, when that location was starting to get paint, this one was starting to get wood. Now, this maze, as now, most of it is just painted black. It looks long. It definitely goes the length of the Mystery Lodge and a little beyond it. As you can see right here, we're looking through this hole and looking from the hotel and whatnot and the sky cabin. And you can see there's like a kind of circular room, almost. A layout's a layout, you know? It looks like it's gonna be a long layout, and it looks tall and fun, and it looks like there's gonna be a lot of cool scares in it. Now, this one, I am sure I'm positive about the theme. The Paranormal Link maze, you know, you can guess around, but this one, now this is located in Ghost Town. It's in the park, so it's going to be themed to the Scare Zone. Now, what could it be? Because we had Origins. That's themed to just the Scare Zone in general, right? It's the story of Sarah Marshall and the Green Witch. That's like the ultimate Ghost Town maze. Now, what could this be? Well, last year we had a show in Mystery Lodge called Invitation to Terror, a show I loved very much. It's basically set in Calico in 1986, where global cooling is going on. It's taken over the world, right? Global cooling, a big problem. And a new entrepreneur, Tom Shackelford, has come out and he said, I have this brand new technology that's gonna change the world, and his company, Futuretronics, is going to unveil this new project to its investors, who is the audience, that's going to change the world, and it's gonna, Futuretronics is gonna, he's gonna get rich, and it's gonna be great. But you kind of notice there's something a little sinister going on here, and basically, he sacrifices his assistant, Sabrina, to this book of the occult that he said he got off some kids. He probably got it. He got this book of spells and divinations in some sketchy way in order to further his agenda, to further his wealthiness, and the means that he goes to become rich and to solve this problem for everyone, which is global cooling. He finds this book and he gets it in what seems to be a very sketchy way. We don't know exactly how he got it, but definitely not kosher. Let's just put it that way. He sacrifices Sabrina, and then we find out, and so she and he summons the spirits, and the spirits come out, and then Sabrina appears as a spirit and says that you've lied and that he's basically a fake and a fraud, and he doesn't deserve this book. And his daughter, Maddie, I'm pretty sure is her name, appears, and she's like, Daddy, why would you kill me? Because we are told a little earlier in the show that his daughter passed away. It seems that he sacrificed his daughter in the name of science to this book, to the spirits or whatever, to try and get an invention out of it or whatever. And she basically just says, from the underworld or wherever the hell she is now, she says, you're an asshole, Dad, and I'm going to kill you. And so basically she does this whole thing, and he goes and he pretty much dies and gets lifted up. And then at the end, and he basically he's screwed, and then he just kind of dies essentially. And then she turns towards the audience, the curse overtakes the audience, and all this and that. That's the climax, and then it all goes into the book. And the last thing we see is the book highlighted on stage with a spotlight and then, thank you for coming to Futuretronics, the future of Tronics. Ends very abruptly, audience has walked out, and the book is highlighted on stage with the logo of Futuretronics. Excuse me, this is obviously a pretense to whatever is going to be here next year. Literally, in the Not Scary Farm fans Facebook page, it was teased, even by people who work there. Oh, the show was pretty good. I wonder what we'll be replacing. We're really excited about and what's gonna happen. This is going to be based on the show. The show was very much so the first part of the story. Something interesting, and how this further connects to the Zone and to Origins even, is last year, this same book that appears in this show, it's highlighted in this show, appeared in the big finale room of Origins. It was literally there. It was not there in 2019. It was there in 2021, and it was highlighted. Maybe that's where Tom Shackelford stole it from. I don't know. But it definitely shows a further connection between the Scare Zone, Origins, the show, and what this new maze is going to be about. This maze is going to be about maybe Futuretronics. Maybe it's going to have an 80s theme because it was set in the 80s. Maybe it's going to be more about like the demons itself. Maybe it will focus on Tom Shackelford. Think of that as the first chapter, or a prologue in the sense, to the maze. Yeah, so this maze is gonna be based on Scare Zone, and that's why I think this is the best opportunity to expand on the story every year, maybe even change a quarter of the maze every year, if not just expand on the story every year, because this, whatever story this is, could be a very fluid story, and this is gonna further build on the story that was developed in the last show. Maybe it's gonna be in the Futuretronics facilities. We might be able to get an idea of where it's located once we see some paint. Again, it's all black walls for now. We could be inside the realm in which these demons come from. It's not gonna be set within the town of Calico like how Origins is. It's gonna contrast Origins. It's going to be more high tech, maybe. Definitely the story of Futuretronics resides from a high-tech look into the future, brighter future. It's in the 80s and we're gonna solve the future, but with some, real sketchy ways. I'm really excited. And whether, how Tom Shackelford the Shackelford family is involved in this, it's interesting. Now, one other very interesting thing we got from this show, it is very clearly stated. Now, I'm gonna say this right now. It is very clearly stated in the description of the show that that Invitation of Terror, the show, was set in 1986. But if we look at the pre-show for the show, in which, like, some of the plot is set up, there is a part where the woman mentions Maddie Shackelford, and it says, there's a picture of her, and it says how long she lived. She lived from 1973 to 1987. Maybe it's just me, but in a show that's set in 1986, something happens where a girl died in the past, but she died a year later? I don't know. This is clearly not a typo. There's something going on here. I don't know what, though. Some multi-dimension crap. Man, I don't know. I'm spending this much time on speculation because honestly, Knott deserves this amount of speculation, and I'm here for it. So yeah. So there's two interesting things about this. Also, the fact that Maddie was born in 1973, which is the first year of Haunt, might have something to do with it. So there's maybe some time dispersion. There is a purpose for this. There's a purpose for this. And I am so excited for what this maze is going to add to the lore of Calico. And I'm so excited, and whether it has that, 5-year lifespan, change the maze every year type deal, I'm really interested to see where this is going. I'm really interested. So guys, I think that brings us to the end of this very long speculation video. As of now, I've been recording for 2 hours and 13 minutes straight, so Hey, you know, I know it was a long time, but look, I have literally seen zero speculate strip sit down talk about speculation video, like let fireside chat type deal. I've seen none of them for Scary Farm this year, and I think it deserves it. I'm taking all of this stuff I've thought about for the past year and I'm putting it on here. Yeah, well, if you've made it to this point, thank you so much. Like, holy crap, you might as well hit the like button and subscribe. It would really help me out. I'm really trying to build a little bit of an audience if I can. I mostly just do it for fun though. I've been doing it for years without you know, any money or anything like that. So, but I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe, and comment down below on what you are thinking about for this year. How excited are you? Do you think I'm wrong about the Futuretronics maze that might be coming, or something like that? You know, does Ghost Town Street suck? Let me know. I mean, that'd be a hot take, but like, come on, let me know. With any updates that we may have, just make sure that you're checking Scary Farm social media, and I'll be here to commentate on anything that I feel like I want to commentate on. Hit the notification bell so you can get any further updates on Scary Farm and other awesome content that I have coming out. It's pretty chill here over at the Will Collins YouTube channel. I'm Will Collins. This is Scary Farm 2022 construction and speculation update. I will see you guys next time. Love you all. This is Will Collins signing out.